Okay, we're live. We are live, people. Okay, special episode tonight. Jason wanted to do one more episode with all three of us, so Jason's taking some time off. I don't know how long, but he promises to be back in time for football season, which should make everybody happy. And Jason, I hope you have a great summer.
Me
I
too.
don't know what you're going to be doing, but have a
I'll
great
be
summer.
I'll be focusing on health.
Yeah,
There you go.
I get it. I get it. Okay, guys, tonight we want to talk a little bit about the portal. We want to kind of go in a little bit in depth in the portal, and then we kind of want to look at who some of the walk-ons are for next year. The recruiting class, the high schoolers coming in for this class coming in. We want to talk about who our breakout players are on freshmen, who we think our freshman breakout players will be, who our breakout veterans would be. Guys who've had a little bit of sniff, but really haven't done a whole lot, but show a lot of promise. Um, so we want to look at those. I got quite a list of those, and we've been requested to do our too early predictions. Mine is based on that we don't lose anybody for the games in the fall, but we know we will. We just don't know who they're going to be. And so when we have a better idea who won't be playing in the fall, I'll make up a new predictions. But yeah, but I'm going to go on the thing that we don't lose anybody major through the year. Okay, so just to get started, here I don't have the walk-on transfers that we're getting, but here's the ones that we offered scholarships to. You guys all know them. Caleb Brown at wide receiver, Nick Jackson at linebacker, Rusty Feth at offensive guard, Deacon Hill at quarterback, Dijon Parker at offensive tackle, Eric All at tight end, and Cade McNamara at quarterback. I know we're missing a couple, one or two or three maybe walk-ons that we offer that are coming from the transfer portal. I just don't know who they are. I wasn't able to find them. It seems to me like we had a second Ohio State wide receiver coming in, but he was on walk-on, is what I gathered.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to locate him. So, Paul, you kind of wanted to talk about these guys and what they brought to the table and stuff, and so why don't you just kick it off and where you think you want to start with that?
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody knows Cade McNamara, right? At this point, if you follow Hawkeye football, you know that we got the transfer quarterback from Michigan and his buddy at tight end, Eric All. I happen to believe that Rusty Feth might be the best transfer portal guy that we got. I think he's going to have the biggest impact. He's an experienced offensive lineman. I think he was all MAC or MAC second team, something like that. So I mean, he's good, high quality interior offensive lineman. Where Iowa absolutely needed help on the interior of the offensive line. And, for Iowa to be successful on offense, we have to be able to run the ball between the tackles, and we have to be able to keep Cade upright. So he's probably the guy I'm most excited to watch. Coach Ack, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't he's got to stay healthy. So, I mean, I'm actually thinking the starting line will be really the same except for that right tackle. Where Jack Plum was. So Rusty's got to get in there, but he's got to stay healthy. And we'll see. But the whole offensive line has improved, right? So, I mean, and the offensive line is going to improve just from the quarterback position alone, right? Like I always say, I mean, and they were running the ball last year, but once you start completing passes, they can't bring 9, 9 guys into the box, right? So right there is going to help the offensive line, not having 8, 9 guys in the box. Like if you watch the bowl game again, heck, Kentucky had 9 guys in the box pretty much the whole game, which is why they couldn't run the ball, but they struggled completing passes, right? So I don't think Cade will have that issue. But Rusty's good. He could win at the guard spot, right? But Coach did say there's 9 guys. So, and they may even rotate 8 of them, right? That's what I believe. They'll rotate, like, they'll get it down to 7 or 8 of them, and they will rotate. There's like nobody that's going to dominate, right? Even Connor Colby, who we got his first round grade, right? I don't know if you guys saw that.
I did see that.
He's looking to go he's projected to go in the first round next year.
Wow, that's good on his part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but even I think with the way they do the offensive line now, which I don't know if it's Kirk's philosophy changing or if it's the new offensive lineman, they like to rotate guys regardless. So I think they'll end up rotating, 7 or 8 guys with those 5 spots. Right now, coach says there's 9 guys duking it out for those starting spots. So I'm excited for Rusty to add to the depth. But it sounds like the whole offensive line is looking better, right? So
another year under their belt, a little bit stronger.
Well, yeah. I mean,
what about Dejon Parker? He's an offensive tackle. I think he was hurt.
That's
during
the right tackle. That if he stays healthy, right? He's already there. But if I remember right, he was hurt through the spring, and I think Rusty was hurt too.
Yeah.
Wasn't Rusty hurt as well?
I don't think he was hurt. I just don't think that he was enrolled here to be able to participate.
Yeah, Rusty's one I wasn't sure about if he was enrolled.
Okay.
But no, I mean, having a quarterback that can read a defense, like I've been explaining, there was so many times. So I'm not really huge about what the offensive line, just because the quarterback position is what I look at the most. And if you have 3.5 seconds, that's how much time it takes for you to read the defense, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of times where the offensive line was confused because the quarterback didn't do the right play call. They didn't the right. Jack Bowman gotten so much because the fans couldn't understand because he looked so silly, right? So many times he would completely whiff and miss a block. Well, his protection would have been slide left. Right? So he would let the outside guy go free. And everybody blamed him when no, it's the quarterback. So there's going to be a mixture. Everything's going to be better just from the quarterback spot, in my opinion.
At Iowa, is that on the quarterback? At Iowa, is that on the quarterback or on the center? Because I thought the center.
It's on the quarterback. The quarterback makes the court. That's what's really hard about Iowa as far as because they make the quarterback do pretty much everything, right? There's no one looking at the sidelines. The center is going to help the guards, but the center is not going to see that guy way out here.
Okay.
Right? So that's the quarterback. I don't know if you ever seen, sometimes Spencer would make the right call, but the quarterback points, hey, watch 56, right? So the center for Iowa is right here. The B gap, the A gap, the B gap. But the center's not going to see everything all out here, right? So, no, that's on – and it's on the quarterback to make the final decision too, right? If he sees something, he's got to make sure that his line sees it too. Because remember, they're down in their 3-point stance looking. Right. The center's looking around, making adjustments too from what he sees. But it's that outside guy that they didn't block last year hardly at all. And that's on the quarterback to say, hey, 56. And Padilla did the same thing. Yeah. Padilla got killed in a Nebraska game, just like Petrus on that outside blitz because he didn't explain, hey, over here.
Coach, from a schematic standpoint, if you know you've got a free rusher or a blitzer coming from one side, aren't you supposed to typically throw into the blitz? Isn't that not what they should be coached to do?
Did you watch a Mike Leach video or something? No, that was actually his thing. He wanted you to blitz. It's exactly what he says. He's not going to worry about you blitzing. He wanted you to blitz because his quarterback would know, and the receiver would know. That's the difference. I don't know if Iowa teaches it because the receivers got to see it too. Actually, Iowa did it last year, the Purdue game.
That Purdue game.
Remember Regini's long touchdown catch on the quick slant? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you're talking about, Paul. They both, Petrus and Regini, it didn't happen very often, but on this particular play, they both saw the blitz. So the ball came out right away, and Regini looked. It was only like a 2-yard pass. The 2-yard slant, and Regini took it the rest of the way. So, I mean, that's exactly right, but it just didn't happen very often. Just because, there's a lot of – you have to do it every play. You can't just do it so often, right? So, I think everything will be upgraded just because the quarterback will understand more. And when the offensive line does block good, like those videos I showed you guys, he'll complete those passes.
Right.
That's a huge difference. And I showed a video with the Nate Stanley. The reason his completion percentage was so bad, but he was still able to throw over 1,100 passes, because on third down, he would make the right throw.
Right.
And, on first and second down, sometimes you'd be like, where the hell were you throwing it, right? He would miss a wide open receiver. So I did a video on it. Did you guys see it? Showing how he completely missed a wide open receiver on second down. But then on third down, he made a perfect, drill pass. So, and picked up the first down. So, is this why you were smiling, Dean?
Yes.
No, I was wondering. You had that creepy little smile over there, but
I was trying to get it red.
I agree with you, Paul. Though, our offensive line is going to be upgraded with those two players. But I thought Fetz was hurt too. But if he wasn't there, then that's a completely different issue. But
yeah, I think he was there.
Yeah.
From what I heard, Feth was present, but he wasn't allowed to participate because he's not quite enrolled.
Oh, so he was like Marco. Marco was there, but he's not enrolled either.
Gotcha.
So once they got Cade, Marco, decided to be a high school kid, which I ain't mad at him, right?
Right.
No. There's Seth Anderson on my list. He's not on my list. He's a transfer in, right?
Seth Anderson, he's Willie Flipper Anderson's son.
Yeah, why isn't he on my list? The list I took off the internet is not complete. I knew there was people missing.
His dad still has the record for receiving yards in a single game.
Let's just kind of hope his son takes after that a little bit. But do you guys see Seth maybe and Caleb Brown just kind of taking over a wide receiver role and just kind of dominating it?
No. I told you we have good receivers. Everybody is all talking bad about these receivers, but they never had a quarterback. Like, they were running wide open. None of them will. Caleb is going to beat out. He's going to be a star. He's probably be Zeke, right? Mm-hmm. But Regini's still going to own the slot. He's going to go back to, what he did like his freshman year when he caught 50 balls and led the team in catches. Seth has to stay healthy. I think Seth is going to be a spot here, spot there type of guy. I think they're going to have designed plays for Seth. He's not going to go out there and out route you, right? He's not going to be that guy like a Mo Brown or anybody like that. He's going to be more like a C.J. Jones was, in my opinion, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's going to be running those, quick screens and stuff like that. Unless they found something, because Alex Moda, who we'll probably talk about later, when you get to me, I think he's going to be one of the fastest guys on the team as well. And he's got pretty good route running already, but he's got to work on that, but he's got a deep speed. So, he's got where you can just say, hey, you're going to run the 9 route. You're going to run the 8 route, right? He doesn't have to necessarily learn the playbook, fully, but they're going to have a package for him. I can see, because he's got so much speed. Mm-hmm. Just let him go out there and say, hey, run the 9 route, go deep, run the 8 route, do a post, right? So I think Caleb Brown's the only one that's going to come in and we're all going to be like, we haven't had anybody like that since Mo Brown. Right.
So
I just have Mo Brown on my brain right now, but
I just hope that we're able to keep the wide receivers happy this year so they don't go looking elsewhere at the end of the year, because we weren't able to keep them happy last year.
Who left? Like, KJ didn't play all year.
Right,
KJ was there. Like, I disagree with that stuff too. It's like the media narrative type stuff. I disagree because
Bruce is available most of the year.
It sounds like maybe there's so many things, right, that's going on right now with Iowa football as far as the gambling, and it sounds like Bruce was one of the biggest ones. And maybe Bruce just decided to get the heck out of Dodge, right, because of this situation. But he can't run from it. KJ, he obviously did some stuff that we don't know about. I mean, obviously I heard stories where he was at a party, jumped off a roof into a pool and hurt his leg, like hurt his ankle or whatever, and then hurt his abdomen. Who knows what the true story is? But I don't think it's about keeping players happy other than Tracy. Because Tracy was a kid they could have kept happy by just giving him the ball in reverses, let him play in the slot where he belonged, not outside at the Z spot. Tracy did not belong there. He belonged in the slot, getting the ball and running with it. Iowa wanted to make him a running back, but they still wouldn't do wide receiver things to get him the ball. And because he can't catch. That's why he's playing running back at Purdue now. Like he switched because they're like, well, play running back or
I don't know, from what I've read about Purdue, they're really high on Tyrone there. And I think they're planning on big things for him this season.
Well, as a running back, I mean, he is really good with the ball.
But he still caught his share of balls.
20,
maybe from the running back position or something. But
he caught 20 balls. But look how much they throw the ball, right? Yeah. Charlie caught over 100. Tracy caught 20.
Yeah.
I want to say it's actually
Charlie and his QB quarterback. That was by design.
But I'm just saying, my point is, Tracy did not get his in that kind of offense.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy was way down the list of somebody to get the ball to at Purdue.
I want to respond to Phil Parker's paw here.
Okay, go for it.
If I'm Spencer, no, I'm probably not embarrassed, and here's why. It's really not his fault that there wasn't. It wasn't getting any better with Padilla. It wasn't getting any better really with. I would be embarrassed if he got pulled at some point and Padilla came in and lit the world on fire. Like I might be embarrassed about that. Like, well, damn, but the fact is that it didn't look significantly better with the other options that we had. So, I mean,
I don't think he'll be embarrassed because what I think it's no different than anybody else. He's going to find out that he's a much better coach than he ever was a player. Right?
Yeah.
I think he'll be excited for Cade. He's not Cade. Padilla, I mean, like I said, I've said 1,000 times, I had them both rated exactly the same coming out of high school, right? Mm-hmm. I had them both at mid 3 stars. To me, they were both the same player. Yeah, Padilla was a little more mobile, and I don't know if we want to get into this freaking thing, but Padilla never used it.
Right.
He never picked up a first down one time with his legs. So they had the same brain. Yeah, Padilla had mobility, but he never used it. And he wasn't accurate. I mean, he didn't throw a catchable ball. Like he had the most drops out of anybody because the ball was all over the place when it hit the receiver's hands. So, no, I mean, I don't think he's not that type of kid. I think Peters is going to be a great coach, right? So, I mean, I think he's going to take this opportunity. He'll probably be a GA next year. I mean, he knows what to do. And in his post-game interviews, he explained what he needed to do. It's that 4 or 5 seconds in the play where he doesn't have it, right? So I don't think he'll be embarrassed at all. I think he's going to be like, well, all right, I'm a part of this. Yeah, I'm helping. I'm on the team. He's still going to get a ring if something does happen.
Right.
And I don't think – and for the fans who love Petrus – no matter what happens, there's going to be fans that's going to hate on Petrus regardless what happens because their schedule's easy. I think they've upgraded, like even at the wide receiver, right? If we're going to be serious about everything, I don't count the offensive line, but Petrus never had Caleb Brown.
Right.
Like, and I think I've watched him and evaluated him, and he is really good for Iowa. Like, yes, he was a 5th, 6th string or whatever at Ohio State with a bunch of number 1 wide receivers.
Yep. Well, like when you say number 1, you're talking about first round, elite, wide receivers.
I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. Is Caleb going to beat out Marvin Harrison Jr.? No. But is he going to make Iowa like what they want? Are you going to pick up that third down? You going to keep the chains going? Yes. Can he route up anybody in the league? Probably, right? But is he going to catch a ball that's thrown behind him like this? Probably not. Like there was a couple of those passes that Marvin Harrison Jr. caught where CJ threw it off into God's country, like Petrus would do, except Marvin Harrison was like, and he would grab it. So, no, I don't think Seth Anderson Caleb is going to be the X. I mean, I would probably pencil that in. He's got a lot of work. He's got to learn a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of receivers that are going to surprise the heck out of everybody because Brian's schemes get receivers open. The route tree gets people open. I get so tired of people saying, I hate his route tree. I mean, there's somebody who played for Iowa that you probably know, Dean, that I have conversations with in your page, and he likes to tell. Well, he doesn't, but people are like, when I obviously are have a debate with him, they'll be like, he played for Iowa. Yes, I know who he is. But because people love to hate Brian, people love to hate Petrus, right? They both, no matter what happens this season, there's going to be people that are going to make excuses of why Petrus was bad. Like I just said, he never had a Caleb Brown, right? So if Caleb comes out and catches 70 balls, then, that's a good reason to say he never had a Caleb Brown. But he had a top of the second round tight end who only caught one touchdown.
We went games this year, games, not quarters, not drives, games, where we threw we had like one or two wide receiver receptions for the game.
Yeah. No, Phil Parker's Paul just said it. I mean, I don't think so because Petrus was just infatuated, with Laporta.
Yeah.
I did a lot of videos on that you guys have probably seen where receivers were wide open.
Yes.
And he still threw it to Laporta, who was double covered, right?
Hey, Sam.
So.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam. So, yeah.
Sam, you're not out chasing storms tonight?
So, Phil Parker's spot, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know if he would have threw to him anyway, right? Because that was part of Bruce. Nobody could cover Bruce. Am I shocked at what he's doing at Oklahoma State? No. He routes people up. Did you guys see that video of Bruce routing up Oklahoma State's DBs? No.
Well, they are Big 12 DBs. They don't cover anybody anyway.
No.
I've seen Big 12 football.
And the drill they were doing, it was an offensive. I mean, the DB was flat-footed. So there was a lot of reasons why. But he's quick.
Yeah.
And he was open. But Petrus loved the tight end, right? So, and he was a second. He was a good tight end, but when you have receivers wide open, you at least throw it to them.
And let's be honest. Whether it's K-State or whoever Bruce is going up against in the Big 12, he's not playing. What did Illinois have? One or two like first-round defensive backs. The Big 10.
So the SEC Big 10 dominated the first round.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Bruce at Kansas State will not in a drill face up against anybody as good as Cooper DeJean.
No. Or half the Big 10.
Matter of fact, everybody
or Riley Moss
everybody knows the Big 12 doesn't play defense.
Exactly.
You just outscore your opponent if you want to win.
Right. It's just.
So Bruce should look pretty good if he gets to play.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's move. Okay, we spent a lot of time on offense, which we did want to because that's where we need the most help. But I got Nick
talking. There's nothing we can do. I don't know what to do. You get me talking. I don't know what to do. I'll just keep talking.
Right. That's what we do.
What are we talking about? I'm missing something.
You just said we spent too much time on something. You just said it, Dean. And then I
didn't mean it like that. I just meant we spent a lot of time on it. But we needed to because that's where everybody's most questions were at. Okay,
Yeah.
our lone defensive transfer, it looks like, is Nick Jackson at linebacker.
Huge get.
See
That's
him get in there and play a
huge
lot in rotation.
There ain't going to be a rotation. He's going to
Correct.
be Jack Campbell.
Right.
Is he? He's going to be our
Oh,
Jack
yeah.
Campbell.
Dude, he is good. Like
He's
he is
Can he?
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Can he do Jack Campbell type numbers?
no.
No.
As far as tackles, yes. But is he going to tip balls that'll get intercepted and all that? He's not 6'5", right?
Yeah.
We're going to go back to the normal. He can be Josie Jewell, right?
Right.
So he can be Josie Jewell. He's not going to be Jack Campbell.
Freak.
He's a freak, yeah. I mean, he's fast as heck. He's 6'5", right? So there was the quarterback literally had to try to throw the ball over him to get it, into space for his receivers. So is Nick Jackson as good in coverage? No. But is he going to shut down the run like Jack? Yes. And I'm assuming he will do what, like the history of Iowa middle linebackers under Kirk did, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be solid run stopping, maybe not be as great in pass coverage.
We'll get to that, Paul. I see what you're reading. But let me answer this first question first. Let's answer the first question first.
I don't think it's the Washington-Oregon thing. I don't think it's going to happen at least right away. Not for a few years because they got to try the USC-UCLA thing, and they got to go through it. And it's all because of this $1 billion TV contract.
Yep.
All these teams are wanting a piece of, right?
Now, I saw a thing. I just saw a headline. I didn't get to read it, but moments before we came on, it said that Washington and Oregon were vetted and cleared to join the Big Ten. But I don't know if that means on the Big Ten's part that the Big Ten's willing to accept them.
They probably vetted them, but what it means is academically, all that, they're cleared. Remember, Nebraska wasn't.
Right.
Nebraska academically wasn't Big Ten quality. They had to do some things.
I still don't think they're
Big Ten quality.
Yeah, no, I still don't think they're accredited. There's some term I don't know what it is.
That academic credited thing that they use. Yeah.
Yeah. There is something. The Big Ten is above the Big 12.
Yeah, I don't think they're well endowed there in Lincoln. So we'll leave it at that.
Well,
You know
Paul,
what?
you want to answer that question?
I would pay money to watch that.
I could play some man-on-woman defense.
For 3 seconds.
That's being awful generous.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd last 3 seconds with Gabby Marshall, but
yeah.
love you, Gabby.
You're
If
busy
you're
looking into
watching.
the eyes.
You are.
She would hypnotize you with her eyes.
That's it. I'm already hypnotized.
Yeah, with her big eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that.
Hey, while we're on that subject, I want to. University of Iowa put a bunch of pictures on Facebook of some of their athletes graduating and getting their degrees. Gabby was featured quite a lot, along with some of the other basketball players. But they also had one picture of a guy, and they didn't name names, but it looked like it was Cade McNamara receiving his diploma on stage. Did he have like one semester to finish here, and he finished it here at Iowa?
Possibly.
Because it looked just like him, but they didn't say it, because it's just a profile, and he's up on stage, getting his, degree.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's
That's
up
a
with
valid question.
By the way, hello, Casey. I don't know if we said hi, but we definitely want to recognize you.
Oh yeah, Casey. He used to be in here quite a bit.
I don't think Notre Dame will ever join the Big Ten. I just don't. I think they like their independence. I still think they feel like they can pull their own TV deal and they don't need to share the revenue.
Well, their TV deal is up, and they're asking for a huge number that NBC's like, yeah, I don't think so.
Somebody will give them the deal, though, that they want, whether it's CBS or Fox or ESPN.
NBC taking over Saturday night games, and they're going to do a primetime Big Ten game every Saturday night starting next fall. Where does that leave Notre Dame? They're not going to be doing any primetime games.
I mean, that might be a huge reason why they're not really looking to sign Notre Dame to the amount of money that they're looking for.
Right.
So, I mean, they're Notre Dame, man. Their Catholic britches are just too big sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
They just think they're above everybody, and they're learning as these years go. And like the Big Ten signed their $1 billion deal, that they're not going to. Networks aren't going to sign Notre Dame because they're not the number one ticket anymore.
Right.
I mean, they're still living off the 80s, right? The 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that was a rule.
Yeah, I don't think they've been allowed to play past like the 2:30 or 3:30 games in November.
I wonder what the thinking on that is.
Not all the Big Ten stadiums had lights. I think that had something to do with it.
Yeah, because Iowa got theirs, I think,
just a few years ago as part of one of the updates or renovations.
Right, yeah, whatever that was, they did their update because they used to pull out they would rent them. They would rent out the
light. They'd rent them, yeah. Yeah. Musco Lighting would give them their light.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another one before we move on.
She's not my white buffalo. She's more like my buffalo wings. I could dip her in ranch and eat her.
Oh, God, you didn't just say that.
Phil, you need to stop it. Paul's going to fall into your trap.
You know, most of the announcing teams are terrible, but, you know, it's not as bad as having Pam Ward or whatever the other lady's name is.
We don't have to worry about it. We're not going to be on any ESPN games this year.
Oh, okay.
We don't have to worry about her anymore. She's done. She's gone. Unless, of course, they're all independent contractors now.
Well, hell, ESPN's going down, so who knows?
Yeah.
Well, what's next on the agenda?
Okay, next on the agenda is I wanted to talk about any walk-ons or freshmen coming up that might make an impact. And so let me just read through those real quick, who they are. Our recruits. I think the top two are actually coming by way of junior college. Ontario Thompson on the defensive line and Terrell Washington, running back. And so then you got Brendan. I think you say Cooter or Keeter?
Don't forget about Filer. Rodney Filer's boy. He's coming from Iowa Western.
Right.
Beth Mullins.
Beth Mullins. That's the
Yeah, that's her.
That's her.
I actually heard her on some was it women's basketball this year. She actually she handled that a whole lot better, I thought, and sounded better in that than she did in football.
Well,
and here's my theory. I know we're a little off topic, but in football she's trying to act like a man, like she knows it all. Right. And in women's basketball, she's just a woman announcing women's sports, and so she just feels comfortable there. She's not trying to be.
It's her voice.
Yeah, correct.
Like if I went on a first date with her, she'd start talking. I'd be like, "Oh, no."
It's like to me, she sounds like Judge Judy. Like
there's something about
what I'm trying to say is she's trying to get that a man announcing voice in football, but she dropped that during basketball season whenever she did the women's games.
She's trying to be Larry the Cable Guy and have her own voice for different things.
I think so. Yeah. Well, anyway, that was my theory. Okay, let's get back. So Bren Keeter or Cooter coming in as linebacker. Cooter, yeah.
He's going to wrestle too.
He's going to wrestle too.
The Coots.
Trevor Locke, offensive tackle.
See, he's another one that I was going to bring up when Paul's talking about the O-line. I think he's going to be in it. That's I
have him start because I got him in there too.
The two transfers are going to do. I think this Trevor Locke is going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alex Mata.
He's guy.
Actually, I think, our third highest ranked recruit.
He's the.
Listed as an athlete, but he's a wide receiver. You said
he's going to be a wide receiver, and he is grease lightning fast.
Okay. Kahil Tate, safety. I don't know anything about him. I don't know if he's got a chance to play or not. Leighton Jones.
He's another O lineman that is going to be in the mix. O line's going to be upgraded. So that's going to be another thing. When people see Cade have 4 seconds to throw the ball, they're going to be like, see, Spencer didn't have that either.
Right.
I mean, the O line is going to be much better.
Okay, and then we got
I bet Judge Judy could throw him back. I bet you she could throw him back.
She would surprise the hell out of you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry, Dean.
Oh, that's okay. All right. I thought Judge Judy was divorced. I didn't know she was married. Okay. All right. Okay, so I said Kenneth Merriweather, an edge rusher. So does he have a chance to play?
I don't believe so.
The Thompson, the transfer, was he like Iowa Western or?
That's Filer. The defensive lineman from Iowa Western is Rodney Filer's son.
Okay, well, we got a DN pass rusher transfer from Iowa Western Community College or some smaller school, but he was apparently like a Division II All-American or he has some accolades to him.
That might be Merriweather.
I think that's Ontario.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Some of these other guys I don't see playing right away as John Nestor, safety, Marco Lionez at quarterback. I know we're all excited about him, but he's probably got 1 to 2 years to wait to get his shot.
It's going to be he'll be
our next starting quarterback regardless.
Yeah. He'll be up
whether Cade leaves next year or a year after. Grant Leaper, tight end, he's got to be really good if he's going to play because there's a lot of tight ends ahead of him.
We hope we don't see him because that means there's injuries or something.
Aiden Hall's listed as an athlete, but I don't know what position they're looking at him for.
Defensive back.
Yeah,
he's a stud too, and he's grease lightning fast.
Yeah.
But he's got the body to bulk up and can play safety. Like he legit could be another Cooper.
So he's a future Cash. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Okay.
But he's going to be a DB for Iowa, though.
Okay.
But he's got
this one I know you're high on is Dayton Howard at wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Tell us about Dayton.
You're high on him.
I think he has a chance to play at the X. We need an X. He's 6'5", 210 pounds. He's quick. He can. He's got a lot to learn, obviously, but he's just another one of those kids. If you just teach him a few things, a few plays, because he can be Iowa's next big time X receiver that they don't have right now.
Let's pretend that the people who are watching this still that aren't crazy, they may not know what an X receiver is. Can you tell us what an X is and what does that mean?
It's let's see, how would you
X, Y, and Z?
Well, yeah, your Y is your tight end. Your Z is a receiver that's going to move around a little bit.
Okay.
Right? Your X receiver is the guy that's farther away from the ball.
Okay.
That's usually on the wide side of the field.
All right.
I mean, it's and a lot of times it depends on Brian, but a lot of coaches will be the wide side of the field, or a lot of coaches the X is on the left side. Right. So it just depends on what Brian does. I don't know exactly what Brian does, but it's a receiver that's usually the farthest from the ball.
Are there special characteristics of an X wide receiver?
Well,
I would say height.
The height, the size, yeah.
Okay.
And the X receiver in Iowa's offense is usually the only receiver out there when they go 2-3 tight ends or 2 tight ends and a fullback, right? When they go big, you have that one receiver on the field. That's usually their X receiver.
Okay.
Right. Now, the last couple of years, Regani's been out there, or they've had somebody else out there. So maybe they rotated in that area. KJ was that guy, right? Okay. So, it's usually the receiver that's farthest from the ball, I guess, would be the easiest way I could tell you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because the Z is going to come in closer to the Y, depending on the play call. So
who's the one you want to hit over the middle, streaking for the end zone?
That or the tight end. That's what Iowa does. They love hitting the tight ends down the middle.
Okay. All right. I got Tegan Davis as an athlete and Zach Lutmar as athletes. So I don't know what position they're being looked at. Again, I don't know enough about these two guys to know much.
I don't know much
them.
about those two.
Yeah.
Cannon Leonard, I've heard of him. He's an offensive tackle.
Yeah, he's just going to be a filler, right? He's going to have to work hard. He could come out of nowhere and play in a couple of years, right?
There we go.
Yeah, because sometimes some of those guys as juniors and seniors, if they put in the hard work, they show up and surprise you.
Right.
The last year or two. Okay.
He's a 3-star.
Jarrett Bowie at wide receiver.
Oh yeah, he's another. You want me to tell you about him?
Sure. Go for it. That's why I mentioned it.
Jarrett Bowie is probably the best all-around receiver that I was getting from recruiting, right? Not a transfer. This kid is going to be a true freshman, but he is already really solid at route running. He's got good hands. I have him playing if it depends on his learning curve. I think he's going to come in and coaches are going to be like, oh, wow, like a KJ did, right? Mm-hmm. I really do. I think he can come in and like be a KJ type. He's going to have to learn the offense. It's going to depend on his learning curve. He's not going to be the guy that's going to go out there like where Alex Mata, where you would just, because of his speed, you could have him just run like a 9 route, 8 route, whatever, to stretch the field with your speed. He's going to have to learn because he's going to have to route you up. He's got skills to route you up. He's got hands. Those are the 3 guys. I believe we talked about all 3 of my guys that are freshmen coming in at receiver that I think could change the game. Like, I don't think we're going to see those walk-ons because of these 3 guys. Like last year, we had some walk-ons on the field. I honestly think those walk-ons are going to be not getting the playing time because I think once these 3, of course, unless the walk-ons from like Wetjen, of course, unless they got better over the year. Right. Iowa's starting DBs couldn't cover Wetjen in that spring practice, right? Harris kept getting pulled out, but it turned out he was on the pitch count, but he kept getting his butt chewed by Parker regardless. Oh, God. No, I've talked about that so many times. You guys remember that story, don't you?
I remember you brought it up, but the last time you brought it up, you didn't tell the story.
No, but I told the story before that when we were talking about the lawsuit.
Wasn't that Coach Kaz or something?
You did tell it. Yes, you did. Yeah, you did.
I remember. No, that was the strength and conditioning coach that was a butthead.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. I remember that now. Yep.
Yeah. But he keeps wanting to hear that story.
Okay. Let's talk about our last 2 recruits. Camry Moulton, a running back, and Cade Piper, defensive line. Any one of those ring a bell as possibilities?
Yeah. I know who Moulton is, but he's not going to – I mean, he'll have to surprise you. Like a Freddie Russell come out of nowhere. And I mean, Freddie Russell wasn't even the starter, right? We had freaking Aaron Greving starting before Fred came in and just took control.
So I got 13 walk-ons, but I'm not going to go through them all. But I just wanted to point out one that I'm kind of glad he's coming. I don't know if he'll ever see the field, but Tommy Poholski, just because I remember when his dad played quarterback for Hayden Fry back in the day, and I just remember Hayden would get in those press conferences, and he would just really emphasize Poholski's last name, and I can just still hear it ringing through my ears how he would say it.
That's awesome.
What position is he playing?
Quarterback.
Oh, he's going to be a quarterback for Iowa?
Yeah.
He's walking on as a quarterback.
He passed up some scholarship offers to be a walk-on at Iowa because his dream is always, since he's been a kid, to play at Iowa.
I love him already. He's my favorite player on the team.
He picked the wrong era to do that.
Yeah, I know it.
I'm
not going to go through a lot of these other ones.
I think the quarterback room was good.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our 2 early predictions.
No, not yet. Not yet. I'm going to say that for the end.
Oh, okay.
What I want is you guys is your breakout freshmen. I think we kind of hit on it as I went through it, but your breakout freshmen who you think is going to contribute significantly. And then we'll talk about breakout veterans who you think is going to really make a difference this year compared to a year or two earlier when they were making contributions, but not like a Jack Campbell type thing.
I don't think we're going to have any breakout freshmen, true freshmen. I think that we did a really great job in the transfer portal of filling gaps, and I just don't think we're going to have to rely on a lot of freshman production. So while we may see one or two, sporadically here or there, I don't think we're going to see. And you know what? It's good for us if we don't see a lot of freshman production.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That means the coaches made all the right choices at all the positions, right?
Yeah.
I will just say one for a true freshman not with those receivers, because if either of those three receivers that I gave you guys figure out the playbook, somebody's gonna step out. And who knows, maybe Alex Moda will come in and they'll use them just like a few times a game to just run deep, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
Iowa likes to run those jet sweeps here and there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe notice a guy.
Yeah, I'm hoping Wetjen gets involved with some of that. But yeah, just give the ball in his hands and let him use his speed, right? But other than those three, Trevor Locke, the guy that we talked about, because we don't know who our offensive tackle is going to be, and we got that nice transfer in, but Trevor Locke just looks like he's the dude. So, if they all have their workout cut out for them, I think it's going to be the right tackle spot, I think, is the only real spot that Iowa, needs to really fill from last year. So, but I think they've upgraded as far as rotation. But I think it's going to be between Trevor Locke, true freshman, and that transfer.
I just think it's so hard for true freshmen to come in and play along like the offensive line because they have high school strength, right? And they have man strength at the high school level. But man, it's such a big jump to be able to play and not having been through a true like off-season program and things like that.
Right, but Iowa's a place where they actually do it.
Yeah.
Right. Iowa's a place where freshmen do come in and they play well.
Yeah.
Tristan Wirfs and there's been a bunch more. I
Sure.
think Albert Jackson even played as a true freshman.
Albert Jackson did play as a true freshman.
So, like I said, and it's that rotation that I'm hearing that Iowa will do. They're going to continue to do the rotation unless they only have 5 guys.
Yeah, and
they have a lot more than that. So
with the transfer portal and everything too, I mean, like you've got to play these guys because they're not going to sit anymore. They're not.
Right. Whoever doesn't get it, next year they may be. Yeah, I mean you're right. But as far as my true freshman is probably Trevor Locke.
Okay. All right. I got Ben Cuter. I think he makes some noise this year.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. And I also had Trevor Locke on there too.
He is a mean SOB. Just put him out there in certain situations. Say, hey, go get the quarterback.
Yeah, I love
the quarterback. Yep. Right. I mean, he is a dog. So, I mean, yeah, I could see it. It's just Parker's defense is really hard to learn too.
So what what veterans do you guys see as stepping up big time this year? Jack Campbell stepped up big time this year. And
I want to go first on this. It's got to be Aaron Graves. He's going to get more snaps, and I think he's going to just dominate certain games. It would be like Graves, 2 or 3 sacks in a game. He's going to have a bunch of tackles for loss. He's going to be a disruptor all the time. Aaron Graves he's definitely my pick for the veteran guy that he's going to have a blow up season.
Mine is Reganey.
Reganey's a great pick too.
I think Reganey is going to, now that he has a quarterback again, I think he's going to ball out. I think he'll catch 50 balls again. Like I said, it's all about Caleb Brown and Reganey. If Cade stays to the middle of the field, which is where Regini's going to be, and to catch most of his balls. He's going to be that first down guy, right? That possession receiver. I think he's going to catch 50 or 60 balls, possibly become Iowa's all-time leader in catches.
And if quarterbacks stay away from Cooper DeJean, sort of like they did for Desmond King's senior year, where they just didn't really look to his side of the field. If they stay away from Cooper, look for X to have, he had the pick 6 in the bowl game, and he could absolutely have a big breakout year.
Right. Yeah. That's actually the soft spot. Worried about Harris getting hurt. They don't like Parker. That's why they want a DB right now.
Yeah,
they really want one because Phil doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do behind Harris because apparently Hall's not really getting it. And that white dude Hines, I think is his name. He's not. Parker's just not thrilled with those guys.
Yeah,
but he's just so used to so much talent at DB. It might be because of that. Yeah, right. They've been so spoiled at DB lately.
And offensively, it's really hard to say because we have so much turnover on the offensive side of the ball, and I don't know that we're going to have, Nico is Nico. He has a chance to have a big year, but as far as like a returning veteran on that side, maybe Lachey at tight end has a chance to really have a breakout year. But I mean, he's going to be playing with Eric All, kind of,
right.
So
that's why I think it's going to be Regini. He's going to get back to like he did as a freshman.
Right.
I mean, go ahead.
I know that there's big things expected out of Higgins and Harris, but I think as long as those two stay healthy for a change, I'm expecting big things out of both of those guys. And
yeah.
Okay, here's one that won't surprise you guys that I'm looking for a big year from, and I'm hoping that he will. Is Wetjen. I want to see him get some passes, and I want to see him do some returns.
Yeah, you said that last year.
Yeah.
I did, and he got a few opportunities, but he didn't get enough.
He didn't get any hardly in the games.
Yeah. By the way,
he should be returning kicks. Go ahead.
By the way, if you guys remember, early in the season, I said something about that Wetjen's roommate, if his roommate was already telling people he was going to transfer out if he didn't get so many catches and so many yards for the season, I'm going to tell you now who that roommate was because the roommate left. That was Arlen Bruce.
Yeah.
I got that straight from Wetjen's uncle. He'd been telling his uncle that he didn't think that Arlen Bruce would be back this year. And he was saying that early in the season, like third week in the season.
Let him go. He can have fun losing. I mean, let him go.
Yeah. Well, if he is allowed to play, he's gonna have a big year in the Big 12. He will.
Well, he's not gonna have like a Charlie type year. He'll probably catch 50 balls and he'll return kicks and a pass. He's not going to be their leader in anything other than maybe returning kicks.
All right. Okay, so you guys want to move on to our much too early season predictions for next year?
Yeah, we can kind of wrap this up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let you guys go first. How you see it? Go for it.
12-0, baby.
12-0. Huh?
12-0. Why not? I mean,
12-0, baby.
12-0. I mean, the only game I don't feel like great about is at Penn State. But, if they find a way to, pull a win out there, none of the other games, like, scare me to death. Like, oh, well, Iowa couldn't possibly win any of those games. Yeah, 11-1, 12-0. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back, this kind of reminds you of the 2014 season, right? Iowa finished 7-5 that year, too. And then 2015
was 12-0.
Right. And the schedule matches up with 2015 next year.
Yeah.
I mean, so I seriously think I'm on record already saying it's 11-1, 12-0 regardless, with the only game that matters or that they could get beat in is the Penn State game.
Yeah, and that's me too. I got 11-1 with Penn State being the loss.
I mean, I added Wisconsin when I found out who their quarterbacks are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got a lot of $1,000 bets out there for the 11-1 season.
Is that the reason why people are so high on Wisconsin for next year with 9 wins on the over/under? Is because of the quarterback?
I think it's because of the coach. Just to be honest, I think it's because of him. But yes, they got a couple stud quarterbacks. So Mordecai is one that I evaluated out of high school, and he went to Oklahoma, and he was. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Phil.
Yeah,
Philly boy, you
and Paul
have
are
a disappointment.
He's in a pod. That's why you guys. That's why you love Paul so much, because you guys are brothers or something.
Brothers from another mother.
You both have the same mom or same dad, something.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Wisconsin was the only other game that I thought could be a stumbling block if they're going to be as good as people have them predicted. But they got Iowa at 7.5 in the over/under, and I think have they looked at Iowa's schedule and who we've got coming back next year?
It doesn't matter; they do that every year. The only year
ridiculous. That's just a ridiculously low number.
Well, no, the only year they weren't 7.5 is 2016. When they were 9 or 9.5, coming off of 2015, bringing CJ back and everybody. The last time Iowa did not hit their Vegas number was 2016. Yeah. And it's because they were projected. I think they started the season ranked 10th or 11th.
Yeah, it started off pretty high.
Because CJ came back. Like, they brought most of their people back for 2016. Even what's his name came back, who you just brought up, and I can't.
Desmond King, yeah,
Desmond King came back. Everybody came back for 2016, and they all fell flat on their face.
Well, we didn't. Not everybody. I don't want to say came back, but I mean, we did lose some people off. You know, we lost Kittle, we lost some guys off that team.
Kittle didn't really play much, so that's why
Kittle was injury prone. Yeah,
at Iowa, Kittle hardly played. It wasn't until he got that $1 million paycheck all of a sudden. Well, I guess he still gets hurt.
Yeah. Right? He still gets hurt a lot with the Niners. But I like it what Kirk Ferentz said, that Kittle improved since he left Iowa. He's a better player now than he was when he was at Iowa.
Well, and realistically, if you watched him when he did play, he did ball out.
He did.
On him. I mean, when you
look
at
the one game he'd been injured, missed several games. The game he came back, I think he got a good pass and ran it all the way down like 60, 70, 89 yards or something like that. I don't remember how many yards it was, but he got a touchdown, came out of the game, and he was injured again. He had strained something.
He balled out enough to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated, so there's that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but
I've got it here somewhere.
Was that the year they were 12-0 and they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated?
Yes.
But yes. I don't remember it being. All right. Anyway, no, Nebraska don't worry me at all, Phil.
Not yet. They will worry me.
I know who their quarterback is. I'm not worried. It's just like last year when everybody was talking about the offensive coordinator. Oh, look what he did in Pittsburgh. Yes, but he's not that good, and he's not that good when he doesn't have a good quarterback, and his system is hard to learn. And look what happened. So, and I'm not talking about because they beat Iowa, because I know why they beat Iowa. I mean, it wasn't because of, oh, look at Nebraska. I mean, they beat Iowa because, well, the offense was poopy, right? Yeah. And everything had to go wrong, right?
It sure did.
Is Iowa going to drop a punt, right? That killed them. Iowa had all the momentum in the world. Then Bruce drops the punt. Cooper Jean got hurt, and then they picked on the true freshman.
Right.
So, I mean, the very next play after Cooper gets hurt, they get an 80-yard touchdown.
Right.
Over Hall, right? So,
and Iowa still made a comeback in that game.
Yeah, it was 24-17. That's what they were doing. They were making a huge comeback.
Yeah.
And then Bruce drops the ball. That's when Nebraska scored their 24th point. So, everything had to go bad. That went bad. Spencer got hurt. The quarterbacks refused to tell the offensive linemen to change protection, the outside blitz. Nebraska just kept bringing it, right? Why wouldn't you?
Right.
Well, they're not going to block it. Just keep doing it.
Not going to block it or not adjust like we were talking about earlier, throw into it or whatever. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just throw into the blitz. I mean.
All right, next year NFL is going to Black Friday football games. First time ever. You guys see that? Because that's always been a college day. You guys see that hurting the college game and attendance?
I mean, I don't see it hurting the college. I don't see it. It's football, right?
Yeah.
So if your team is playing, regardless, you're going to watch your team.
Yeah.
Right.
What it's going to do is just add more football to the day.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, if I was playing and then my Broncos are playing, I'll probably flip back and forth, and I never would have before. But regardless of who's playing that commercial, I'm going to flip over to the other game. So it's to me, it's just more football. The only thing I hate is Friday night football because it does take away from high school football.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely love high school football.
Well, luckily, Iowa's only played in one of those, and they kicked freaking Maryland's ass.
Oh, Maryland. Yeah, Maryland. You're right.
At Maryland. That was a game that I was mildly concerned. And early on, my concerns were a little bit validated. Before their wide receiver got hurt, he was the best player on the field.
Yeah. No, that game was funny because my gambling buddies all picked Maryland. They're going to torture Iowa, blah, blah, blah.
They were sort of headed in that direction.
They just had a first quarter.
Yeah.
Like, how many teams have a first quarter against Norm? Or Phil. I'm sorry.
Phil, yeah.
Like, seriously, like, Phil adjusts to you. He comes in with a base defense, then he's going to see what you do and adjust to it. How many times have we as fans been frustrated with the very first drive of the game and they go right down the field against Iowa? Because he doesn't adjust until that second drive. He just puts everything together. He's like the master putting a puzzle together, and then he makes his adjustments, and then Iowa's defense is fire. It's always that first drive of the game. And that's what Maryland did. Heck, I think they had over 100 yards passing in the first quarter.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then it turned into 6 picks.
Yeah. And then it turned into 6 picks. So, but that's just his style. But like Norm was just saying, he learned from Norm, right? I mean, Phil was his defensive backs coach before Norm, quit.
Coach, you have any parting statements? Anything you want to say as you take a sabbatical?
Not really. I'm just gonna deal with something.
You're still going to be around for me, right? Like in the messages and stuff. We're still going to be, right?
Oh, we'll see.
You're dropping us there too.
If I'm
You're dropping out the group chat too.
No, I'll be in there. But if I don't respond,
okay.
But anyway, yeah. If I look like R2D2, then you're like, somebody get a hold of Coach.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. But no, I'm ready. I can't wait for football season. So we got a couple months to wait, and then when summer football hits, hopefully, we'll be getting back on, and we can get this channel going farther for Dean through the next football season. So.
Right.
I know you've got some stuff coming up, some family coming to visit. We may be off for a couple of weeks. It sounds like possibly, but guys, don't fear. We will definitely be back in some fashion. If not all three of us, at least Dean and I, we're gonna carry on for we're gonna carry the flag without Coach for a little while. But we love talking Hawks, and we just can't keep these guys out of the news, can we? God dang it.
Yeah. So I agree, guys. Thank you for everything. Guys, if you guys made it to the end of the podcast, please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to watch it on YouTube, and go to Spotify because we'll be there on audio. And I just learned while we were talking that I can only do 60 minutes at a time on a podcast. I'm going to actually have 2 segments up if I get it But yeah, but the audio version went well the first time, and so this is the second time, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll get the link out for everything. And but please subscribe to both the YouTube and the Spotify. The Spotify is just strictly audio for those that just want to plug it into your car and on your commute to work, or you're sitting in the garage doing some work or working on your
If you
car.
want
And
to hear
you
my
listen to a
voice,
podcast.
if my voice makes you feel some kind of tingliness,
And, I'm a very nostalgic kind of guy. So I just want to say happy Mother's Day for anyone who could be listening. Happy Mother's Day, Terry.
yeah.
And our Mother's Day gift to you, Terry, is guys. Terry does have a site. It's a Sensi. It's a terry.sensi.us, something along those lines. Check her out. If you're still watching, still listening, you can find her on our Facebook page. Hit her up, DM her. The Sensi stuff really is amazing. All three of us at some point have bought and used the amazing Sensi stuff. Oh, look at that. Dean still has the link up.
Dean
So
is right on it.
happy Mother's Day, Terry. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, all the women with vaginas. We love you. And
With pelvic bones.
right.
I hope we're allowed to use this stuff on the air.
So
yes. All right. And my final parting thought is, as we leave here, is I will probably end up doing some solos, and me and Paul, when Paul is available, Paul and I'll do a few, especially when there's breaking news, especially if anything comes out of the gambling stuff. Paul and I'll jump on here. But my idea is to temporarily use some guest people that would like to come on here and talk as our third wheel, because I love the third wheel deal, three of us together. And so
I'm gonna need Phil Parker's Pa to come on here. I need my brother from another mother on here.
That would be hilarious. I don't know if we'd even get through the whole show if Phil was on here. But
I'd
be willing to try it if Phil's willing to try it.
I don't know if YouTube
I was going to say,
deplatform us.
those two together, Dean, you might get.
That's true. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Thank you guys for
if you don't like and subscribe, I'll haunt your dreams.
That's right.
So there we go. They're all going to like you now.
There you go. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.